Genesis. Show my hardcore is.
What's up, freaks, beasts, and athletes? It's DC here with dclayborn.com, home of Genesis Strength and Conditioning. Kind of with the off-season of football here, kind of want to get a few more videos out, kind of telling you guys the best way or how we train our athletes in here to prepare them for the upcoming spring ball, two-a-days in the summer, and the fall season. One of the things that I notice that really kills me when I talk to our athletes about what they're doing in their high school, college, and even, unfortunately, sometimes at the pro setting in terms of training, you know, their off-season training program, their prep to get into the season. The biggest thing that really seems to bug me is how coaches condition their football athletes to prepare them for the game and the season. You know, there's so many old-school coaches out there whose idea of conditioning is putting them through 300-yard shuttles, multiple 110s or 100-yard sprints. And, you know, there's really, I'm not going to say that that's not the best way. Well, actually, I am going to say that is not the best way to condition for football, mainly because I don't know what league you play in to where you will be running 300 yards straight, or unless you are the all-time greatest kick returner in the history of any football league that's ever been out there, you will never need to run 100 yards straight multiple times in the game, especially with something like 10, 15, 20, 60 seconds rest in between them. And so throw those methods out, and I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can condition to become a better football athlete that are actually going to carry over onto the field. Way number 1 is by taking the movements that you're going to be doing on the field, all those sports position-specific drills that you're doing to help improve your position, and turn that into a conditioning type drill. So if you're a wide receiver, running routes, keeping them nice and short, doing multiple reps with minimal rest periods, anywhere between 10 to 30 seconds, is going to be a great way for a receiver to get in shape and get prepared for the season and offensive drives as the game progresses. If you're a lineman or a linebacker, working on lateral movement, short bursts, backpedaling, drops, combining those movements together, again, for multiple reps with minimal rest period in between them, is another great way. And that's just kind of the key is to take the position that you play, take those drills and make them quicker, make them, do them multiple times and shorten down the rest periods so you're still breathing harder and you have to get into the next one. What this is going to do is as the game continues on and you get more and more tired and fatigued, you're still going to be used to performing those movements even while fatigued, and you're going to be able to keep doing them as crisp and precise as needed and as explosive as needed compared to someone else who their idea of preparing was running 300-yard shuttles, but they're not used to moving laterally. They're not used to speed turns. They're not used to backpedaling once they're fatigued, and their body just doesn't know how to do that as fatigue continues to set in. The second way you can condition to become a better football athlete is by performing strongman training. You've seen in a lot of our videos, our athletes are out here flipping tires, pushing prowlers, dragging sleds, swinging sledgehammers, heavy kettlebell movements. Using that type of stuff, farmer walks, of course. Maybe I should just rename this gym and this blog and just Genesis in general to just become Farmer Walk Central, because it's such a great exercise for any athlete of any sport. But by incorporating strongman training into your conditioning and making them kind of circuit-based, shuttle-based, make it a medley where you're farmer walking something down, sprint back, prowler sprinting something down, sprint back, dragging something down, sprint back. That type of stuff is what is going to be a great type of strongman training that's really going to carry over and teach the body to still be able to move heavier loads, be explosive and be powerful, and fight through the fatigue on the football field. The third way that we really like to condition our athletes is to put them with a high side prowler sprint, high side prowler work at a shorter distance. We will always do it in terms of either 15, anywhere from 10 to 30, 40 yards at the very most. We like to always keep the prowler work on the high side. I used to, when I first got started, we would do a ton of low prowler work just because it was way more miserable. But then the more and more film that I watched and talking to the athletes and seeing kind of the carryover, realize that 95% of the athletes that we work with do not perform low prowler pushes correctly. Their hips end up way too high, and the way the power transfers over into the prowler is not efficient and not a powerful position to be in. And two, misery does not make a drill better. And so by keeping it at high side, they're able to stay powerful. They're able to stay in that drive position and utilize that leg strength and leg power as they fatigue. And same way on the field, they're still going to be performing those, that type of position and movement. When we do our high side prowler sprints in here, when it's for conditioning, we do it a few different ways. We can either plug it in some type of suicide type movement where they're going to high side sprint it down 10 yards, perform a sport specific or a position specific movement back to the start, sprint back to the prowler, push it another 10 yards, do another position specific movement back to the start, and then sprint back to the prowler, push it another 10 yards, and then turn around and either sprint back through, or if it's someone like a DB or someone needs to work on backpedaling and they can't keep their hips low as they fatigue, then we will have them backpedal through the start. So again, there is 3 tips of how you should be conditioning to get ready for the upcoming football season. 1, position-specific drills with using multiple reps, keeping them short, never over 10 seconds, preferably somewhere in that 6 to 8 range at the longest, with shorter rest periods in between it. 2, a bunch of different types of strongman training using strongman circuits, strongman medleys, those type of movements. And then 3, high side prowler sprints, using them either as a suicide, just a circuit, or even just regular sprints with rest in between. So add that into your conditioning. Even if you have a coach who is still going to make you do a conditioning test as dumb as a 300-yard shuttle or as stupid as 10 or 1,500-yard sprints, I can pretty much guarantee you that if you do these types of conditioning drills, those type of conditioning tests when you have to meet when you're in front of your coaches will be a piece of cake. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to drop me a line below. Check out the links. Hit that subscribe button. Now you guys know, and knowing's half the battle.
Genesis. Show my hardcore is, you know what I'm saying? Yo.